gonna send right now to the WhatsApp group the material we're going to use. Where we? All right, we're over. Great. So we are live. So as I was mentioning, thank you very much. Okay, your students for having joined me, and well, let me send right now to the WhatsApp group. Okay, second, third, fourth, fifth. So I've just sent 5 links. I'm gonna send more. Let me just look for it. 6th, 7th, and 8th, just in case. Great. There we are. So as you can see, in the WhatsApp group, I have sent several links that are going to take you to Google Documents. And the use of these links is that we're going to practice our writing in there, okay? You know that in order to practice for this task, we need to have your keywords in American English configuration. We're going to listen to a reading passage. Excuse me, we're going to listen to a lecture, read a passage about an academic topic, and then we're going to practice, okay? A question? Yes, dear Angel? Questions? No?
No, sorry, I was open.
No, it's okay. Thank you very much, Angel. Well, so let us start on with our practice, okay? Dear students, you know what we have to do. We're going to read, as I say, a passage about an academic topic, and then listen to a lecture on the same topic, but with the endemic detail, as you remember, that this lecture is going to comment on the same topic, yes, but it will give you a completely different perspective, okay? If the reading passage talked about something in a positive manner, then the listening or the lecture will discuss it in a negative setting. And that is important because in your essay, following the structure that we shared last week, that I'm going to resend right now if you want to have it again handy, remember that you need to make sure that such a contradiction that exists between the reading and the listening is made clear, right? And how can you do it? Well, by following this structure and using these connectors, right? Of contrast and opposition, okay? Well, let's go and start. I'm gonna give you right now the reading passage you need. Here we are, give me a second. Okay.
Sorry, teacher, I have a question.
Yeah, Santiago, please.
I don't know in which group I am. The links that you have sent on WhatsApp.
Yeah. Yeah, don't worry. Thank you very much, dear Santi, for the question. We have not sorted out the links yet, so it's okay, right? We're gonna have the material first, and then I'm going to sort it out so that you're gonna know what link belongs to you. Okay, dear Santi?
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. Okay, well, here we have it. We have not used this one, okay, with you, dear students, or have we? Could somebody tell me? American literature of the early 20th century, the ones who were present last class. We have not used this topic, right? Or have we?
No,
we have. Okay,
No?
sorry, Jasmine. The last class I think was about Rococo's art style.
Great. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Andre. Fantastic. Well, so we're going to use this one then. This is about American literature, right? Very different topic. Well, I'm pasting this to the WhatsApp group, right, for you to read it, your students. And as you remember, you have 3 minutes for reading this passage, okay? So here I'm going to initiate the chronometer, and please, all of you start reading this passage that is in the WhatsApp group, please, now. Okay, there you are. Fantastic. So, dear students, it's time for us to listen to a lecture on the same topic, all right? Let's go. Don't forget to take your notes, very important for this part, as you're not going to be able to listen this lecture twice, okay? So please let us start listening now.
Now listen to part of a lecture on the topic you just read about.
All right, so the essay that you all read last week, well, it's very likely that the author of that essay simply didn't like Stein's style. The reasons given in that text kind of, point to the author's biases. Take the issue of punctuation for one. Anybody who says the punctuation or the lack of punctuation in Stein's writing doesn't serve a purpose, they clearly haven't read her essay titled Poetry and Grammar. Stein viewed punctuation as a crutch, as a tool that was simply unnecessary. And so, well, relying on a tool like that encouraged authors to write weaker sentences. This is a unique perspective that's worth considering, not something we can simply write off. Second, the idea that Stein took Cubism and approach to writing, applied those concepts to her writing and that Cubism was somehow incompatible with language, that idea completely ignores the changes in poetry since Stein's day. There's been quite a lot of poetry that relies on the sounds of words and the images conjured by what seem like totally nonsensical phrases. Stein's work is of massive literary influence, as an early example of that. And as for Stein's relationships with other authors and artists, you only have to look at Hemingway's famous style to see a Stein's influence. The simple, common words, the repetition, a lot of what we think as Hemingway's came directly from Stein. She really changed the way people around her were working. It wasn't just a social connection.
Summarize the points made in the lecture you just heard, explaining how they cast doubt on points made in the reading.
Very good. There you are. Well, now that we have read and listened to both materials, it's time for us to sort out the links, okay, to the Google documents. And then I'm going to divide the class into separate breakout rooms. And well, you're going to get into one separate room for yourself, just in case somebody gets in. So I have to explain this one more time. I don't want to, of course, the concentration, okay? So you're going to be able to write down there very much calmly. And when the time is over, I'm going to call you back. Nonetheless, before we do that, let us sort out the groups, okay? Well, not the groups, but what I mean is the links. So please, our dear Angel, you're going to have the first link, okay? This one that says first. This is going to be yours, okay? So please remember. Our dear Andre will have the second link, okay, dear Andre? The one that says second group is yours. So remember that whenever you get into, scroll down until the end. So for example, this is, if I get into Angel's link, right? Get into, and remember, scroll down until the last page and make yourself some space, right? Something like this. And start writing your essay here, for example, in the last page, right? Just in case you avoid any confusion. Well, so Andre has the second group, as we have said, very, very good. Okay, Angel has the first one. Jasmine, you're going to have the third link. Okay, dear Jasmine, we're going to have this one for you. Our dear Santiago is going to have the fourth one. Okay, dear Santiago, the one that says fourth is yours. Okay, Alexander, you're going to have the fifth one. Okay, so please, you can get into this one. It's the fifth one, and that is going to be your Google document. And finally, our dear Paula is going to have the sixth one. Okay, dear Paula. So the sixth document is going to be yours, right? So please, all of you can enter your Google documents. And well, as I say, I'm going to divide the class right now into separate rooms, and you're going to be there alone. You're going to be able to see my screen. I'm going to share it with you, even in your breakout rooms. And your time is going to start once you enter the breakout room. Okay, so please, once you enter, start writing down your essay. Because when your 20 minutes are over, I'm going to call you back and we're going to start with some feedback for all of you before you go, okay? So please, I'm going to divide the group right now. In a second. Any question? Or we're fine?
Sorry, I don't hear my group. Can you repeat it?
Yes, dear Alexander. Yeah, tell me a question. No?
I didn't hear my group, so can you repeat me, please?
Oh yeah, of course. Oh my gosh, well, as I forgot, but Dear Alexander, could you please have the number 8 because nobody got that one. So please, you're going to write down in the link that says 8, all right? Dear Alexander, is that fine for you? Yeah, dear Alexander, number 8, it's fine.
Okay, thank
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much. All right, so we're gonna divide the class. So please, once you get into your separate room, as I say, please start writing on your essay once and for all, okay? So please get into, and I'm gonna call you back very much soon, okay? So good luck and see you very soon. Get into your rooms. You can also enter your breakout room, dear Santi, all right? Whenever you want. Hi, Mateo. How are you? Can you listen to me?
Hello, sorry I'm late.
No, it's okay. It's okay, dear Mateo. Thank you very much for joining. Well, with your class, they are can you, dear Mateo? Yeah, Mateo, can you listen to me?
Oh yeah, right
Great.
now.
Thank you very much. Good. So I was about to say that with your classmates, I have already, well, we have already divided the class and they are already writing down their essays as practice for the first task of the writing section. So as you have just gotten into, let us do that with you. Can you go please to the WhatsApp group? And there you're going to find this passage that starts with American literature of the early 20th century. I'm gonna give you 3 minutes, okay, for reading this passage, and then I'm gonna let you listen to the lecture so that you can go and start writing your essay as well, okay? Dear Mateo, is that fine?
Yeah, okay.
Fantastic. So please start reading your passage that is in the WhatsApp group now. Great. We're gonna stop here, I think. Well, fantastic, dear Mateo. Now I'm gonna let you listen to the lecture, right, on the same topic, and then you're gonna be able to join your classmates, okay, with the activity. So please listen to this lecture. Give me a second, I want to share one more time. Share to breakout rooms. Share. There you are. Now. All right. So please let us listen, dear Mateo.
Now listen to part of a lecture on the topic you just read about.
All right, so the essay that you all read last week, well, it's very likely that the author of that essay simply didn't like Stein's style. The reasons given in that text kind of point to the author's biases. Take the issue of punctuation for one. Anybody who says the punctuation or the lack of punctuation in Stein's writing doesn't serve a purpose, they clearly haven't read her essay titled Poetry and Grammar. Stein viewed punctuation as a crutch, as a tool that was simply unnecessary. And so, well, relying on a tool like that encouraged authors to write weaker sentences. This is a unique perspective that's worth considering, not something we can simply write off. Second, the idea that Stein took Cubism and approach to writing, applied those concepts to her writing, and that Cubism was somehow incompatible with language, that idea completely ignores the changes in poetry since Stein's day. There's been quite a lot of poetry that relies on the sounds of words and the images conjured by what seem like totally nonsensical phrases. Stein's work is of massive literary influence, as an early example of that. And as for Stein's relationships with other authors and artists, you only have to look at Hemingway's famous style to see a Stein's influence. The simple, common words, the repetition, a lot of what we think as Hemingway's came directly from Stein. She really changed the way people around her were working. It wasn't just a social connection.
Summarize the points made in the lecture you just heard, explaining how they cast doubt on points made in the reading.
Great, there you are. Okay, there's Mateo. So as you can see, that will be the material. Now you're able to join your classmates in the activity. If you look at the WhatsApp group, there is a link that says 7, all right? This link to a Google document is going to be the one selected for you, okay, the one that says 7. So you can just get into, all right, and start writing down your essay. Although, of course, you'll have less time than the rest. But anyways, don't worry because I'm going to be reviewing your essay at the end of the class so you can have more time in order to finalize it, okay? Dear Mateo, is that fine? Do you understand?
Okay.
Right, fantastic. So please get into and you can stay here, okay? And start writing down your essay in the Google document that says 7, all right? As you can see, it's a Google document like this one. Just scroll down and you can start writing there, okay?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, if you have any question, you tell me, okay? Thank you very much. All right. Well, all of you have come back, I think. So we can start. Okay. Thank you very much for having written your essays. Dear students, it was a pleasure to see your progress. I was actually seeing more or less how you were doing, but now it's time for us to read them and, of course, to give you some personalized feedback. So let's start, okay? With the first essay. Could please the author of this essay
Me, Angel.
say hi? Okay, dear Angel, thank you very much. Fantastic. So let's start with you, right? Let's go. It says, the reading extra leads off with the topic of the influence of Gertrude Stein in the American literature of early 20th. In this case, I would say it's of the early 20th, okay? Of the early 20th, which said that the influence, okay, I guess this is unnecessary, of that author is irrelevant. However, okay, so remember that connectors, for example, however, is a connector, right? Or any other connector like nevertheless, therefore, moreover, furthermore, likewise, always follow a pattern. They go after a period, as you did very well in this case, right? After a period, sorry. They go after a period, as in this case, good. They start with capital letter, very good, but you forgot this one. They always go before a comma, okay, for any connector. Therefore, likewise, furthermore, in addition, any connector you can think of follows a pattern, okay, very good. However, the professor in the lecture said that you're true. I thought this comma here is not necessary because that, given that that is like a fluidity connector, it is not necessary for you to stop, but you can actually just continue, right? The lecturer said that Gertrude had a notable influence on how people write literature at early 20th century. I will expose both versions. Fantastic, very good. Firstly, okay, so again, first is a connector, right? So when you write down the connector before a comma, right? Fantastic. In the reading passage, it is stated that Stein's works tend, okay, in this case, it will be tend because it's plural, right? Works to be unclear for common people. Because, I guess, because here, as I told you, dear Angel, when you write down because, and this is for all of you, dear students, it's not necessary to write down a comma, okay? Because when you're using this connector of translation like because, it is not necessary to use a comma or a pause, okay? Anyways, because she got inspiration from a style of painting called Cubism, which has not clear emotions or meanings. And she tried to apply, okay, she tried in this case, right, in past, she tried this to the literature. Nevertheless, in the listening presentation, it is said that the inspiration of Gertrude in the Cubism really influenced two other authors. Okay, very good. Very good. First paragraph, let's continue. Secondly, again, another connector. In the listening, in the reading excerpt, it is pointed out that she really included conventional punctuation. And this practice made it really difficult to understand her prose and poetry for the common reader. Okay, very good. The listening passage claims notwithstanding that although she uses non-conventional punctuations and avoid common words, okay, here's space, her literature is perfectly understandable, very good, and this practice really changed, in this case, right, cambió, the way of how some authors wrote. Fantastic. Finally, right, another connector, finally, comma. In the reading section, it is stated that it is easy to be deceived as to Stein's, I guess, with the Stein's, well, as to Stein's literature, yeah. Literature in this case, okay, literature, due to the historical influence of Stein's Salon. On the other hand, okay, so this is a connector, right? On the other hand, comma, in the presentation, it is mentioned that it is perfectly fair the influence of Stein until the present, because, here again, because she really influenced, I guess. She really influenced in how people wrote stories onto this days. Fantastic. Well, okay, I think it's a very good essay, dear Angel. Good grammar. The only mistakes with those connectors, but apart from that, was excellent. Let's see how many words you wrote. You got 250. That is a fantastic quantity, by the way. Very good. Congratulations on that. And as I say, try to reflect a little bit more on the connectors, but apart from that, fantastic, very good. Following the structure, summarizing effectively, fantastic, very good. Dear Angel. Okay.
Thank you, Carlos.
My pleasure. Let's move on to the second one. I think this was Andrea's essay, right? The Andrea?
Yes, it was.
There you are. Thank you very much, Andre. Well, let's start. The reading extra lets off with the idea. Again, this lets off right with 2F. All right, let's off with the idea. Now, the 20th century was an age of critical changes over the writing style, including the influence of authors like Hemingway. But as a country of many thoughts, but as country, I guess this A is not necessary here, but as country of many thoughts. Gertrude Stein, who usually is included among the important these important authors. As you're using authors here with plural, here you have to use these, right? These important authors. But I love how you use this literary device, right? Writing within the symbols, it's fantastic. This is very good. Should present a less importance, excuse me, over the history of the literature. Nonetheless, in the lecture, it is said that the author of the reading passage simply didn't like Stein and stands for this with vague arguments. Very good. On the following paragraphs, I'm going to present, here in this case, a comma will be necessary. On the following paragraphs, I'm going to present the three main arguments, right? Three right here, like three with H, right? Of both sides. Fantastic. Very good. Firstly, in the reading passage, it is claimed that Stein tend to be inaccessible to the reader. I like how you use this literary device one more time, in this case, quotation commas. This is, he had a lack of communication of emotions in her works, mostly because of her influence. I guess she was a female, right? At least from what I understand. Well, anyways, of her influence in Cubism, a painting style that surely expresses emotion. In this case, it would be expresses, right? Because you're talking about Cubism, a single subject. The listening passage claims, notwithstanding, that these arguments, again, these arguments here, with these, right, because you're talking about arguments in plural, forget, in this case, without the S, that these influences, again, these influences are part of the changes in poetry. Many authors have used sounds, images, and non-common sense phrases more commonly than thought. Okay, thoughts.
If I'm not mistaken, phrases is PHASES.
Which one?
Phrases?
Excuse me. Oh, phrases. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. It's phrases. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you very much, Yasmin. Yes, you're right. Phrases. I had not noticed it, but yeah, you're right. Phrases. More commonly. No, but it's okay. Don't worry, dear Andrea. It happens because we always link right words in Spanish and English. But anyways, very good. Secondly, so this is a very good paragraph, by the way. Okay, fantastic summary. Secondly, in the reading section, it is pointed out that the punctuation was a matter of fact on the difficulty to understand Stein's works. Fantastic. Nevertheless, in the listening presentation, it is noted that the author of the passage haven't clearly read carefully these works. Okay, again, these works here with this. It is said that many literature had emphasis on, again, this style. Very good, fantastic. Sorry. Finally, in the reading section, it is stated that Stein, by her own, I guess, I mean, I'm not sure if she was a female. I mean, from what I understood, she's a female, but if it is a male artist, anyways, fantastic, okay? Should have less meaning to the art of literature, more given by his sound than his own capacities. On the other hand, in the presentation, it is mentioned that Stein should be seen as a massive literary influence. We should even see him as an influence of Hemingway. Great, there you are. All right. So I think this is a great essay, dear Andre. That's how I love how you are using a lot of literary devices, like writing with this quotation commas and with this other symbols, as if you were writing within commas. It's fantastic. 290 words, great quantity of words. Okay. So very good, dear Andre, and I love the detail of using these devices there. Okay.
Thank you, Carlos.
My pleasure. There you are. Well, let's continue. Group number 3. Okay, this is could the author of this? Yes. Oh, yeah,
Mine, Jasmine.
Yours. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. Is this one right? Great. The reading extra leads off with the American literature, especially relating some flaws about Stein's work. Great. Nonetheless, in the lecture, it is said that that is unfair. The points that the essay is sharing. and it's unlikely the author have ever seen Stein's work. Fantastic. And the author has ever seen, that will be the only mistake. I will expose both arguments a little bit farther, right? And remember here, when you're finalizing your transition phrase, instead of periods, 2 commas, or 2 points, excuse me, or column, as it is called in English, right? First, in the reading passage, yeah, don't worry, thank you very much. In the reading passage, it is claimed that Stein's work, tends to be inaccessible to the reader because she takes many concepts from Cubism, emphasizing visual representation over than emotion. Great. Nevertheless, in the listening presentation, it is noted she did rely, in this case, when you're using rely, right? You have to use, because in this case, you are using did, right? The auxiliary verb. So when you use the auxiliary verb, instead of writing past, simple past, you don't use it here with a past tense as well. You use the present form. That would be she did rely, right? Instead of she relied, like this, for example, if you weren't writing this, right? It would be like this. She relied. But as you are writing this, it would be she did rely with the present form, okay? On Cubism.
Yeah.
However, it is a connection, remember? So however, it's always after a period, right? With capital letter M before a comma, okay? Very good. However, that unique factor makes these things were a massive literature influence. That's it. Very good paragraph, by the way. Secondly, in the reading excerpt, it is pointed out that it is visible a lack of punctuation made her prose to be impossible to decipher. Great. I like this word decipher. It's not common. Very good. The listening passage claims notwithstanding, the punctuation factor was unnecessary. More importantly, it was a technique. It was a unique perspective she used on her literature. Here, I guess that this could be a separate sentence, more importantly, because it seems like it expresses another idea. Or you could have used it maybe with a semicolon if you didn't like to use a period, something like, oh, I don't know what it did.
Yeah, I want to give more emphasis that more importantly, it was a unique perspective.
Yes, exactly. And for that regard, you could have used a period or this other method. As I say, this is another device. It's a semicolon. And in this case, it's as if you were starting a new sentence, but you don't use the capital letter, as you can see. You just write it with a capital letter without it. And then you add here a comma as if you were using a connector. More importantly, it was a unique perspective she used on her literature. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Very good. My pleasure. And final paragraph. Finally, in the reading selection, it is stated that even though she was surrounded by notable writers at the time, at that time, in this case, comma, it did not give her a real influence other than social connection, right? On the other hand, in the presentation, it is mentioned that Hemingway was influenced by Stein's literature. Fantastic, there you are. All right, wonderful, wonderful essay. Let's see how many words you wrote. We had 204, fantastic, so very good quantity of words. And I think the essay, it's fantastically written with good words as the cipher, for example. Very good, dear Jasmine. Congratulations, okay? Very good. All right. Let's continue. Number 4. Who is the author of this essay? Number 4. It's number 4 here, number 4.
Yes, it's my essay.
Okay, dear Santiago, thank you very much. Let's go and read it. Okay, we have the reading. Let's start with the American literature of Stein. This topic exposes the characteristics of all this type of her writings. Okay, when you say escritos, it's writings. Okay, of her writings. Very good. The first point, comma here in the first point, we will observe the base and advance that this writing is about. Nevertheless, in the lecture, it is said that not a lot of this writing is a great achievement. Fantastic. By the way, we observe this analysis. Okay, so by the way, I guess comma here, we observe this, and I guess you meant analysis, like this, analysis. We observe this analysis, right? But fantastic, very good, and very ingenious way to write down a transition phrase. I had never seen this one. Very good, dear Santi. Let's continue. Firstly, in the reading passage, it is claimed that her literature is undeniably deeply impeccable. Fantastic. Nevertheless, in the listening presentation, it is noted that this literature has basic problems of basic grammar and issues of punctuation, for example. Great. Awesome. I love this summary. Secondly, in the reading passage excerpt, it is pointed out that the rise of this author in the time was an exceptional precedent for the writing. Great. This is very good sense. The listening passage claims notwithstanding. I guess here this word is unnecessary. Claims notwithstanding that the technique of this writing has serious problems, right? Very good. For example, and something here I will recommend you to, because for example, it's a connector. It would have been better if you just stop the sentence here and you write this as a connector. For example, right? Comma, and then you have started a shorter sentence and more understanding. For example, comma, the Cubism part of this literature has repetitions in this case, right? Because you're talking about the part, right? As a singular, I think, has repetitions of common words. Instead, social here is repeated, social connections, and ignores the details of poetry. Okay, very good. Very good paragraph. And finally, in the reading selection, it is stated was an impeccable part of this art. It is stated, and here I think there is something lacking. It's stated that, I don't know, that she was an impeccable part of this art or something, I don't know. On the other hand, we observe that the other lecture, I guess, and the other lecture mentions that this type of literature has serious and basic problems, okay? It's fine anyways. Okay, very good, dear Santiago. It's a very good essay. I love the transition phrase as well. Let's see how many words you got. 199. Fantastic. It is above the limit. Very good, dear Santi. Congratulations, okay? Very good essay. There you are. Let's continue. Who had to write down in the number 6, dear students?
That's me.
All right. Thank you very much, Paula. Let's go and read. The reading extra leads off with the most important exponents of American literature of the 20th century who became influential for their new writing style and left a huge impact in the history of literature. Among many authors like Ernest Hemingway, Scott Fitzgerald, there was another author that I mentioned.
Sorry.
Okay, good.
They.
Yes, they. Yes, I will say that they mentioned in the passage whose work was less influential than the others, than the others. And in this case, I would say it would have been better to use than the others. 2 points, your true state, right? I think it is more understandable. There was less influential than the others. 2 points, your true state, right? But anyways, nonetheless, in the lecture, it is said that she was very influential in American literature for her different contributions. All right. Very good introduction. The only thing that I would add here would be the transition phrase, right? I will, right, comment, well, not comment, right, because you're not giving your opinion. I will, summarize both topics more deeply, right? Something like that. And 2 points, right? Very good. Firstly, in the reading passage, it is claimed that she barely used punctuation in her writings, making sentences long and hard to decipher the meaning behind her words. The passage claims it was completely unnecessary because it made the readers get distracted with a huge amount of ideas in just one sentence. Very good. Nevertheless, in the listening presentation, it is noted that many times punctuation is unnecessary and it does not help to represent the author's feelings, making it to be biased of the actual representation. Great. Secondly, in the reading excerpt, it is pointed out that she used to have a cubism way of writing, which had their importance in the sounds of the word more than the meaning. Therefore, it was hard to understand the meaning. Good. Here, there is an extra space, unnecessary. The listening passage claims notwithstanding that this form of art used in the literature is actually compatible with poetry because commonly poetry relies on the sounds. Very good. Finally, in the reading selection, it is stated that Stein had very important connections with which helped her as literary influence. However, so for example, however, here I will use it as as a connector, not because it is impossible to use it within commas, but I think that whenever you write down shorter sentences, helped by connectors is always better, okay? However, an author's work should be valuable just because of the social connections they have. On the other hand, in the presentation, it is mentioned the social connections she had didn't influence in the importance and significance of her work in American literature. Fantastic. It's a very good essay. Let's see how many words. I think you wrote a lot of words. Let's see. And you got 305 words. Oh, wow. Fantastic. Very good, dear Paula. It's a very good essay. Keep practicing, okay? Fantastic. Very good. My pleasure. Number 8. This was who's this essay? Number 8. Did somebody write here? No?
Number 8, what's mine?
Oh, yes. 8. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, Alexander. The reading extra leads up with American literature of the 20th century, especially about. Okay, yeah. This is the essay, right, dear Alexander? Or maybe I'm reading the wrong one. Yeah, is this one?
Yeah, that's mine.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. The reading extract leads off with the American literature of the 20th century, especially about the author and poet Gertrude Stein. She's not as well known as writer. She's not as well known as writers. I guess writers here like Ernest Hemingway or Scott Fitzgerald. A lot of critics consider that putting her in this case, right? Putting her at the same level here, at the same level of that important or those important authors in this case, right? Of those important authors is an error. Nonetheless, in the lecture, it is said that despite his influence at the historical moment, his work has transcended until our times, and we can consider her as one of the greatest writers in the last century. Fantastic. Now, I'm going to explain both versions. Very, very good. Firstly, in the reading passage, it is claimed that Gertrude Stein's literature tends to be inaccessible to some readers. She doesn't use, I guess, or she didn't use. Yes, I mean, I guess she doesn't use in this case, right? She does not use them, I guess. Okay, or she doesn't express, I guess. She does not express thoughts and emotions in her text. Yes, she uses, in this case, right? She uses a lot of concepts of cubism and style of painting that emphasize individual part and here it would be a not to be clear in a certain meaning. Nevertheless, in the listening presentation, it is noted that the cubism in the literature could express a new way to represent and interpret the reality without being so explicit and using exaggerated literary images. Fantastic. Secondly, in the reading excerpt, it is pointed out that the way in which, right? En el que, Stein used to use punctuation made her text not understandable for everyone. She has, right? She has long sentences, an unusual way to use periods and commas. Good. I guess, and in this case, it would be an unusual way to use periods and commas, right? Some critics consider that she made her text difficult to decipher. The listening passage claims an understanding that the way in which Stein poetry uses, again, in this case, because you're talking about just one subject, right? Stein's poetry uses the punctuation open, in this case, it will be comma, open new ways to express poetry, and her style is used until now. Finally, in the reading selection, it is stated that some critics can deceive her literature, I guess. Yes, her literature, and forget the importance of her literature until our times. On the other hand, in the presentation, it is mentioned that Stein has well earned a place among the great writers of the 20th century. Fantastic, very good. Let's see how many words. Control C, and you got 316. Fantastic, Alexander. This is a wonderful essay, well written, well introduced, and well concluded. Very good, dear Alexander. Okay. And let's finalize with our dear Mateo, who was the last one to enter. Let's see what he wrote. Okay, here we have it. the reading shows us how American literature of in this case it will be of the 20th century. I guess in this case it will be necessary. The reading shows us American literature of the 20th century. Good. This fascinating topic talks about the style of writing and some of the most important writers of the age. In the reading passage, we can see some authors like Gertrude Stein and her controversial punctuation. I need to leave. Okay, thank you very much, Andrea. Don't worry, it's fine. Thank you for your presence. In the reading passage, we can see some authors like Gertrude Stein and her controversial punctuation. She wasn't understood by common people. This was for her notable references to Cubism. She always emphasized the visual representation or emotion. Secondly, okay, very good. In this case, I would just separate this. And here to your introduction is this one, right? I will add the transition phrase, something like, I will expose both of these views. Sorry, both of these views from now on. Secondly, right here, comma. In the reading part, we can see that the pronunciation was very important to understand this kind of literature, okay? And here, a connector, remember, always with capital letter after a period, very good, and before a comma. On the listening part, comma, we can hear that the pronunciation wasn't too important. She had a unique perspective of literature. In this case, I would, as this is a separate sentence, I would use semicolon whenever you have to unite two separate sentences, okay? Very good. Finally, and here another space, she was surrounded by other important writers of the age, and she's a big influence for a lot of contemporary writers. Fantastic, very good. Very good. Last paragraph, very good. There you are. Well, let's see how many words you got. All right. Clear and 141 words. Okay, you are about to match the minimum. I will recommend you to continue practicing a little bit more. And trust me that this problem of not writing enough words is easily solvable. It's just a matter of practicing, getting better with the keyboard. And I know that, of course, in your case, you didn't have the entire time, so don't worry. Fantastic. Okay, dear student, fantastic. Well, we're going to finalize here, okay, dear students, as you could see. This was the last time we are going to practice this task. Tomorrow, we're going to have a very interesting class about the second task of the writing section. I gotta tell your assistants, please don't go. And help me with the traditional poll, please, with your kind responses as always, okay? So please help me with that. And if you have any question or commentary, you can express it, okay? All right, let's listen to your name, please. So it's here present, our dear Jasmine Azucena.
Yeah, present.
Thank you very much, Jasmine. What about Reyes Andre? Well, he was here, but he left us because he didn't have time. Paula Andrea Coronel.
Present.
Thank you very much, Paula. What about Andrea Mercedes? All right, Alexander David. Okay, I know Alexander was here.
Present.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alex. Yes, I got you. Thank you very much, Alexander. Fantastic. Intiago Angel.
Present.
Thank you very much, dear Angel. What about Antesana Mateo?
Present.
There you are, dear Mateo. Thank you very much. Sergio Santiago.
Present.
Thank you very much, dear Santiago. Sara Neda, she was not here last today. And finally, our dear Kevin Alcides. Okay, he didn't make it today. Well, thank you very much, okay, dear students, for your responses, as always. I'm going to be seeing you tomorrow. Please don't miss tomorrow's class. It's going to be super important. We're going to discuss the second task of the writing section, and I know that you will love it, okay? So I see you tomorrow, and have a wonderful night.
Carlos, see you tomorrow.